yes, Vice News, that paragon of journalistic integrity. Well, they've taken off time from telling us why haircuts are racist to spend some time embedded with the enemy. That's right, they did an extended expose on Antifa. They spent a weekend with them camping in the woods, hiding like rats in the shadows just outside of an event that they were protesting. In late April, anti-fascist activists camped in the woods of rural Tennessee the night before the American Renaissance Conference. They hoped to get the conference canceled or at least make it unpleasant for attendees. For some, it did not matter if the tactics they used were unethical. Now that is the keystone of the Antifa movement, and it's elaborated on here. Naya, one of the activists, terrorists, you could say, admitted it was possible that there were people among the anti-fascists who were there to do violence for the sake of violence. How do they weed them out? We don't. He does not worry that this could mean that the movement was morally compromised. Well, in order to be morally compromised, you have to have a moral basis to begin with, or else there's nothing to compromise, and clearly they don't have one of those. No, these people are literally hiding in the shadows outside of an event that they don't like, planning to use violence to bring it down.
Are you ever concerned that, like, even if these methods work, they might be unethical?
I'm okay with that.
Quote the article, "The brutality of these particular activists' physical violence contrasts with the sophistication of their intelligence gathering." So that was a big part of this, was that they have a very sophisticated online presence that gets all sorts of valuable information. How do they do it, and what information do they glean?
Pretending to be a girl.
Pretending to be a girl. That's right, they just make fake avatars and go on the chat rooms and the websites of their perceived enemies, and they ask those people, hey, what are you doing and can I join? And those people say, sure, come here and join us here. And that is the extent of their intelligence gathering.
How do I be a part?
Yeah.
Where do I go? That's how we find out what they're planning, where they're going to be, and how they're doing it. Using their misogyny against them.
Yeah,
'Cause
that's
they
so
can't-
interesting.
I think you'll find that on the internet, pretending to be a girl or just being a girl is, people are going to be more willing to help you no matter what. And the fact that you see a group of people who are eager to find women to join their movement is somehow a sign of misogyny, that goes over my head. You'll have to explain the deep-seated communism that allows you to believe such things.
Yeah,
'Cause they
that's so
can't-
interesting.
But if you even just look at how they're touting this group's intelligence gathering versus the actual intelligence gathering capabilities of their perceived enemies, which would be like Trump supporters or just trolls on 4chan, that sort of thing, the difference is staggering. One side discovers where a large group is holding their not secret conference. The other side will just take a image of a flag with a blue sky in the background, and they'll triangulate using jet streams. They'll listen to the wildlife. They'll look at the constellations and are able to pinpoint exactly where the camera is and the angle at which it's pointing. That is the intelligence gathering capabilities of the hive mind that is 4chan. The capability of Antifa pales in comparison. And so the people that they're covering are white nationalists, specifically Richard Spencer. They say in Michigan in March, they experienced what they describe as the most successful operation they've ever had. Prominent white nationalist Richard Spencer had successfully sued to be allowed to speak on a few college campuses, which it's really sad he has to do that anyway. But his speech at Michigan State University did not go well. He ended up speaking to a couple dozen people, many of them journalists, in a dreary building that held livestock auctions. The anti-fascists fought off a line of white nationalist supporters. A few days later, Spencer canceled his college tour. So they're not winning minds. There are still people showing up who want to see Richard Spencer. They're actually just physically preventing them from being able to do so. Now, I personally don't like Richard Spencer. I've tried to listen to stuff that he said. I pretty much disagree with all of it. I don't like him. He doesn't represent me. He doesn't represent my views. So why am I defending him? Because these people don't care. Antifa, the anti-fascist, the semi-homeless people hanging out in the woods just outside of this event, planning on how to do violence to the people within, they don't care whether you're a Nazi, whether you're a neo-Nazi, whether you're just a Trump supporter. They don't care. They're going to target you anyway. And now that Spencer has canceled, now that Spencer has given in to their intimidation, they're just going to move on to their next target. It's not about what these people say. It's about their right to say it. And it's about the manipulation of people like Antifa to think that everybody who doesn't believe just like them is a Nazi and is a perfectly valid target for physical violence.
When you're given that choice of do I take the next step, I take it.
It doesn't matter what we actually believe. We have targets on our back, and allowing people to do this type of violence without any sort of stopgap measure to prevent them from going too far is dangerous, and it terrifies me. So why do I say that this article leaves me with a light heart? Well, I'll tell you, because for one thing, it reveals the lack of sophistication that these groups have. It also reveals that despite all of the positive media coverage, despite the entire system doing everything it can to support these people, such as the local police are often on their side, or at least told to stand down. The media will never portray them, or if they do, they'll portray them simply as anti-fascist and doing something noble. Well, despite all of that, it seems like people understand what's going on and they're doing things to prevent it. So, for the example of this American Renaissance convention that the that Antifa was trying to shut down, well, they utterly failed. They were limited to a protest pin across the road that was filled with police. So good job, you got to hang out in a pig pen with a bunch of police, and that was your big victory that Vice got to cover.
Before the conference, you guys were talking about shutting the whole thing down, making them have a really bad day. You weren't able to do that. Their conference seemed to go on as planned.
So, for one thing, that just is good to see them losing, because that's all they really know how to do.
So do you still consider this a success?
Yeah.
But they also say that Spencer's decision to quit is what kept them motivated. Says that's what we're here to do. Our entire goal isn't to beat people up, to break stuff, or to do violence. Our goal is to make them quit. So every one of them that falls apart or quits or gives up, that's a huge victory. So the point to gather from this article is don't give up. That's the only thing you have to do. Just don't give up. They can't beat us with ideas. They can't beat us physically. They're cowards and they hide in the shadow. And they can't beat us legally. They can't beat us in any way unless we give up. And I say we in the general term as just anybody who is an enemy of these anti-fascists, because again, it's actually a trick of Vice. It's a trick of the media to portray their enemies solely as white nationalists and as neo-Nazis. So, because nobody will come to the defense of these white nationalists and the neo-Nazis. Well, I will, because even though I totally disagree with everything that they have to say, I will still defend the death, their right to say it, but mostly just for a selfish reason, because while I don't believe any of that stuff, I am on the right, and for that reason, Antifa considers me one of these people, considers me a neo-Nazi, considers me a white nationalist. Even though they've never listened to what I have to say, they have no room for nuance. They will attack me with just as much fury as they'll attack the most ardent actual Nazi. So it's important to stop these people now, because now that they've gotten rid of Richard Spencer, now that they've used their violence and their thug tactics to silence the most extreme, they're going to start moving inward, and slowly but steadily, they're going to get rid of anybody that they perceive as an enemy, which includes me, which includes some of the most moderate people on the Republican side. It does not matter to them. You heard them. They don't care that it makes them morally corrupt. They don't care about ethics. All they want to do is do violence to silence their enemies. But the point is that when you look at this, from their own admissions, this is a violent, terroristic group. So either Vice is a credible news service, and this is a real report of a real danger to the entire American system, a real domestic terrorist group at work on our soil right now, or this is just total LARPing and nothing we have to take seriously. Well, I do have to take it seriously, because these people show up in their masks and they attack people like me. They were outside of, they actually stabbed people outside of a Night for Freedom with Mike Cernovich and Gavin McGinnis and Stefan Molyneux. I was there. I could have been stabbed. I could have been a victim. I looked them in the eyes as they stared at me and drew their fingers across their necks. It was like Day of the Dead. I was on one side of the chain link fence and they were on the other, just gripping it and just staring at me with death in their eyes. It was actually terrifying. It was like looking at a group of zombies. And even though that group of people is not alt-right, it's not, the group I was with, we're not alt-right, we're not white nationalists, we're not anything like that, they still have the same level of hatred. They still see our views as vindicating their own viciousness against us. So it is something we have to worry about. It is something we have to combat, and we have to take it seriously, and we have to know that we can't just use this like hive mind intelligence gathering operation that just naturally fomented during and before the 2016 race. We have to continue to use that to infiltrate them right back, because they haven't stopped trying to bring us down. But most importantly of all, we just have to not give up. We just have to keep spreading our message and not let their fear tactics intimidate us, because at the end of the day, we are on the right legally, we're on the right morally, we're on the right ethically, we're on the right in every way, and all it takes is these people to give up before we do. So in conclusion, I would like to thank Vice for documenting this group of cretins as they fester by the fire outside of any dignified civilization. Thank you for shining a light on this group of people and exposing not only their terroristic tactics, their lack of morality, but also exposing that in the end they're actually ineffectual, weak, and cowardly. So thank you, Vice, thank you, Antifa, and thank you all of our supporters out there who won't give up, who won't back down, and who are putting on a intelligence gathering operation that far exceeds anything Antifa ever imagined. And we're doing it every day, every hour of every day, and we're really making a difference in this world. So, reporting for Infowars.com, this has been Harrison Smith.
Fueling your body is hard work. That's why we've introduced the Infowars Life Daily Digestive Pack to help you fuel it right. Combine Flora Life Everyday Maintenance and Carnivore to help you fuel your gut and body and take advantage of the powerful nutrients you receive. There's no better way to power your body. Flora Life is a powerful probiotic supplement with 20 of the most potent clinically studied probiotic strains. When paired with Carnivore, our incredible enzyme formula that helps you break down nutrients, these formulas fuel your gut and your body to help you fight toxins and stay fueled all day. These incredible formulas can help keep your body in tip-top shape in the fight against stress, age, and outside toxins. There's no better time to try Flora Life and Carnivore to see how well they can support your body. Don't miss out on the chance to fuel your body and support recovery. Try the Infowars Life Daily Digestive Pack today.